everybody, and welcome to our second instalment. After a pause of about 4 or 5 weeks, we're going to conclude the Terminator franchise and discuss Terminator Salvation, Terminator Genysis, and Terminator Dark Fate. So, in the last thrilling episode, we decided that Terminator 1 was the best out of those three.
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Then it was Terminator 2, and I'm quite happy for that to go either way. And the Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines was a boring snorefest that didn't need to happen. And for those watching this, and I know there aren't many of you, it's bloody roasting. So please bear with us if internet drops out, or indeed one of us passes out due to the heat. Right. Terminator Salvation, I'll begin. I hated it for a number of reasons. And I'll start it off. Sam Worthington was awful. Christian Bale had got his head neatly tucked up his own backside. It was overmade. It was a dreadful script. It was boring as hell. Nothing happened. The only redeeming features it had got was I quite liked Anton Yelchin as a young John Connor. Probably the best iteration of John Connor that we've seen.
Kyle Reese, Dave.
Sorry, apologies. I meant Carl Reese. See, even I'm getting everything's blending in. Carl Reese, forgive me. Other than that, it was just dull, really, really dull. What did you think?
It had one redeeming feature for it, was the fact that it tried to do something different and move away from the mess that had been made with T3 and thought, right, it's about the future. Let's try and make a story about the future. Let's actually do what happens in the future in a sort of a prequel way, but not a prequel way. And for that, I do give it some credit. But like everything else with some of these things, it's a good idea, but the execution was a bit shit.
No, I'm with Mark on that. That's what I said today before when we were talking, like when we did the Cocoon Castaway. We were just chatting afterwards, and I said then, I agree on that. Salvation, I'll give a little credit to, because it tried to do something different. It didn't follow exactly the same story that they had done for every other film previously.
Yeah.
You know, in the Terminator franchise, there's a lot of repeating the same story in a slightly different way, which I suppose it's a time travel sort of franchise that can work. But yeah, I like Salvation to an extent because it tried something different. There's a lot to fail it on. I'd have to agree there. Some of the acting wasn't fantastic. I didn't mind Christian Bale. I mean, okay, we all know he was an arse at the time. We all saw the clips of him abusing the chap working on the set and all that. I didn't mind him in the role. I quite enjoyed it. There were bits that I liked. I liked the mode. Some of the Terminators I liked a lot. The motorbike Terminator thing I thought was fun. Lots of the battle scenes were kind of fun.
Yeah.
Overall, it just wasn't great. It just wasn't. Genysis, though, I mean,
The other problem I've got with Salvation, the same as with Genysis, it's this movie Salvation is proof that Sam Worthington was really fucking lucky when he got the Avatar role, because he's not the greatest actor in the world.
No.
This and Clash of the Titans and Wrath of the Titans killed it then, exposed him for what he actually is, which is a second actor at best. He's a supporting actor. He can't carry a movie, and this just shows, because okay, he was a Terminator, but his acting is pretty robotic, and that's not intentional, which is really sad.
Yeah, for a role where it could have been,
yeah,
it wasn't meant to be, which is really funny, because that's one of the things I would say on overall with the Terminator franchise. A lot of times they do cast actually decent people in the roles.
Yeah.
You see, Sam was the closest they get to a bad actor. I mean, some of the roles are a bit iffy, but overall they do cast quite well, really.
Yeah. I didn't mind the Marcus character, I've got to be honest, but I thought he was a nice addition to it, and it took it in like I say, trying something different. They
Yeah.
took it in.
I do find it difficult to destroy it, really, because you hats off to them. They was trying to do something different.
It was just
Yeah.
dull as dishwater.
Robotic attitude. Wasn't too
Oh,
bad.
God, it was so boring. I would yawn. It was like, come on, something happened. Oh, look, a big explosion. Yeah, great. Come on.
Even the ones that weren't great, Genesis. I enjoyed them all. I didn't come away from them hating them. I didn't go away thinking, well, that's 2 hours that I'll never get back. Okay, it wasn't the best movie that I've ever seen in my life, but I didn't watch any of them really and think, well, that was just a steaming pile of crap. I thought there was something to enjoy in all of them, whether it was proper enjoyment, whether they actually fit with the franchise and all that at times was debatable.
One thing I do like about this is it wasn't. What I like about this is it wasn't restricted with timelines and time travel and worrying about what we're going to do because it's going to affect anything that's happened in the other movies, which did give this film a bit of freedom because anything that they did in this would not affect the outcome of the three movies.
I agree with that. That was the one thing it did redeem itself on, the fact that it was a prequel. It left things safe. You didn't have to worry about that. It happened elsewhere. And what were you going to say, mate?
Just that it, like Martin was saying, there wasn't an awful film amongst these three. But again, looking at them as individuals, they are individual films.
Yeah, you got one and two.
Continue the franchise. They've got a theme, but not anything that's tying them to the original.
They're sort of like 4, and we'll talk about 5 in a minute. But you know, they're within that universe, aren't they? You know, they're a bit like sort of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. It's like Fantastic Terminators and Where to Find Them. And I suppose that leads us neatly into the mess that was Genysis.
Before we go into the mess of Genysis, there's one thing I've got to say here, is Terminator Salvation would have been a hit of a movie if they'd have had Schwarzenegger in it. But the problem that this movie faced was Terminator 3 killed off so much of the the bums on seats fan base, the everyday people, not the hardcore people, because hardcore people watched it, but the general people thought Terminator 3 was so shit that they wasn't going to go and waste money to go and see Terminator 4. And also, they wasn't going to go and waste money if they wasn't going to see Arnold in it. So it had an uphill battle from the beginning.
Technically, it did have Arnold.
Technically, he was in it, where they shoehorned him in.
Yeah, but it wasn't there. It wasn't part of the storyline. He wasn't the main role. He wasn't the reason people were going to see it. And then, leading into Genysis, which you're about to do, is the big mistake they did was they make Genysis and bring Arnold back, because Genysis is the biggest gut-wrenching bullfuck of a fucking movie I have ever seen. It is a fucking... You saying that none of these films are really bad. I'm sorry.
Genysis is really bad.
He's really bad.
Yeah.
However, I thought when you watch it for the second time, right, it feels like you've given the people who made the airplane movies and the scary movies access to go and make a fucking Terminator piss take, because every single bit of this film, it makes me want to fucking vomit. And this film is proof that fucking Joy Courtney is a big steaming pile of wank piss. The bloke is fucking useless.
Joy Courtney is good when you cast him right. When you cast him wrong, he is not good.
No, Joy Courtney is good if you cast him as a secondary role in the background, like Captain Boomerang. Making him Kyle Reese, when we did our fucking Castaway, fucking Joy Courtney was the fucking prime example where they got it so fucking wrong. A bloke who's gone through all the shit that he's fucking gone through would not look and act like fucking Kyle Reese. And what's even worse, they got the first movie, they bent it over a desk, they pulled down its pants, and they dry humped the fuck out of that fucking movie. It makes me fucking vomit. from the moment that you see Kyle Reese fucking see himself and all that fucking bollocks where everything fucking changes straight away from the first movie, and then fucking Arnold comes along and the fucking old robot fucking kills him. I just want to vomit all over the screen. For the first time in a long time, I've wanted to kick the fucking shit out of a TV.
No, I enjoyed it as a bad movie. I
can't even enjoy it as a bad movie. It's fucking atrocious.
I enjoyed it as a bad movie. I didn't think it was a good Terminator movie. I thought they messed with a lot of things. As I said, I think they cast a lot of good people in a lot of roles, not always the right people in the right roles and stuff like that. But that was the one that was the most messed up to me. I mean, right down to the John Connor as a Terminator. The guy playing John Connor was a great actor and everything, but the wrong actor.
Yeah.
The miscasting in there in that sort of respect.
And fucking Matt Smith at the end, who turns into the bad fucking Skynet. I was just it's the first. This film made me almost as angry as Looper. That's how fucking much.
What you mean? What you mean? It was so faithful to the concept of time. No, it wasn't. Oh, good God, it wasn't. It was so bad.
And the people who watch this, right, what they needed to do before they did anything was go and get a copy of Flash Gordon, right, and see what happens when you've only got so many minutes left to save the Earth, is you fucking run around and try and fucking save the Earth. These people have got a fucking countdown going along and they walk along really slowly like nothing's fucking happening. Oh, there's no sense of urgency in any of the cast. When they've got so many minutes to fucking save the planet, it just pisses me off. I honestly, fucking hell. The world's going to blow up in 20 minutes. What should we do? Let's sit and have a snack. That's what it fucking felt like.
Oh, you know what? I really wish they'd cast Brian Blessed in there somewhere. Arnold's alive.
Arnold's alive. And what did you think of it before I give my opinion?
It was messed up, wasn't it? Not sure it's as bad as Mark's.
Oh, it is.
No.
Vocal attack.
No, I'm with Ant. I don't think it's that bad. I think it was enjoyable in a way. You know, it was twisted enjoyment. If it hadn't been a Terminator movie, maybe it would have been fun. It was screwed up.
Without, you don't need the term. This didn't need the Terminator running through it. It could have been anything going through time to try and save the universe. So I didn't score it very highly, but I didn't think it was a load of wank.
You know what else annoys me about the film, right? Is you've got Arnold Schwarzenegger as the fucking Terminator, giving the fucking cast and the audience exposition about what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
When did that become a thing?
Yeah.
The fucking Terminator, he just fucking stands there.
Mark, somebody had to fill the blanks in because half of the time I'm going, what's happening? I mean, I
did have to watch it numerous times.
I have to say, right?
He suffered many times from what he just said.
It's got a few redeeming features in the fact that we actually have a worse John Connor in this than in Terminator 2. They actually cast a more annoying Pillock. But if you want more annoying Pratts, what happened to Kyle Reese? When did Kyle Reese, did he bang his head when he went back in time and become a dumbass? What happened? It was like asking some of the most ridiculous. Oh, and does he remember it? Well, of course he doesn't remember. It's not the same machine. What are you talking about, you moron? It was dreadful.
There's a few bits of like nostalgic look back, and I could see what they were trying to achieve, but it didn't work on in the bigger picture. All that going back into the original shop and taking the coat off the hook and all that stuff was and I think it made Martin smile, but
I sat there as well.
That were fun. I mean, you know, but it was fan service of like the worst type, really.
And I sat there as well thinking,
to him in this way.
I sat there as well thinking, right, they're gonna. Oh, they've created their own time machine. They've created their own time machine thing to go. Oh well, they'll go back and they'll fix this. No, they went forwards. They even managed to screw up their own rules. They went forwards, and I went, well, that doesn't make any sense. What
the thing is, they established all the rules about time travel in Terminator 1. They kept it to a certain degree with Terminator 2.
Yeah.
They destroyed it with Terminator 3.
Yeah.
Terminator Salvation, it wasn't relevant.
No.
When Genysis came along, that again, as well as watching Flash Gordon, the guy should have fucking watched Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, because if that is the one movie, I don't care anybody says, when it comes to time travel, going back and looping back on yourself, they get it dead right.
I'm going to leave the
They
keys
do
there.
not get it right.
Oh, it was who restore my dad keys. Excellent.
There is no cause and causality at all in this movie. There's none.
It doesn't make any sense. I'm sat there going, well, hang on, they can't go back. And you know what? It leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. So when I watched Dark Fate earlier, and I watched it hoping it was going to be better, you know, Schwarzenegger in that saying, I detect anomalies in time and I give her messages. Now, come on. This is borderline. I mean, I know it's robots and time travel, and it's meant to be, you know, sci-fi and fantasy, but please give me something a little bit more believable, because Dark Fate was ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
Well,
The great thing about what I do,
it was like a cartoon.
My favourite one of the three.
Dark Fate was like a cartoon made into a real thing. It was what Genysis was horrendous, but Dark Fate was ridiculous.
Genysis was a convoluted mess, but I will give them a little bit of credit of what they tried to do. What they tried to do was, what we're going to do is, we need to go forward. The only way we can go forward is to eradicate the restrictions that have been given by the franchise so far. So they go back and try and do it so it gives them free range to open it up. I can understand that, but they make a mess in doing it. So therefore, they didn't make any other movies. What Dark Fate does is basically it's some kind of fan fiction to give themselves the opening up to make everything okay. Is they get the movie that grounds everything, is a favourite of a lot of people, which is Terminator 2, and they destroy the entire film by having a Terminator just come in and shoot John Connor.
Spoilers.
Like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Mind you, that was my favourite bit of the film.
It was great.
Bang.
But then what they do is, instead of trying to open it up like Genysis did, which didn't work, they instead said, okay, Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 exist, but what we're going to say is Terminator 2 was really a waste of fucking time because I'm going to kill John Connor anyway.
But it didn't make any sense. Because
within their rules, though, you said this at the beginning, they quite often go through any of the sequels and destroy the previous movies from what they do in it. It's just what they do.
Where did that Terminator come from?
I think it was annoying as hell, but it kind of fitted in with what they do, which is kill one of the previous movies. Kill it like
and again, what did James Cameron do? He's done it again, right? He did it with Aliens and he did it with Terminator. And this is what's killed it. He made the T-800, lovable Terminator Arnie. And they did it in Terminator 2, did it in Terminator 3, did it in Terminator 5, and done it again in Terminator 6. People got sick of it. He was meant to be an unstoppable killing machine. Now,
and they humanised him.
Yeah. Now the Rev 9, the Rev 9.
My CPU is a learning computer.
Now the Rev 9 was what Arnie should still have been, an unstoppable killing machine. But they turned him into good old Uncle Arnie, he'll save us.
Well,
and they spoiled it. And they did it again in Dark Fate.
With Dark Fate,
I'll help you, Sarah Connor, for John. Oh, get lost.
What happens in Dark Fate 2 is Rev 9 becomes the uncle to the woman who's in the end, and she's going to come and give a pat on the back.
Yeah.
What is a prime example here? This exactly what's happened with the Terminator franchise is what's happened with the Highlander franchise. They should have left it a fucking alone after the first one. That's it. It's a fucking convoluted mess now. They cannot repair any damage. There is 4 movies that are
something. As you dive in there and tear them all apart, Dark Fate's by far the best of the second lot of 3 movies by far.
Yeah, but that's like having a tallest dwarf, Martin.
Oh, yeah, one and 2. 1 and 2 ahead and so far above all other movies. The amazing thing is that they did make 2 as a successful sequel.
Yeah.
It's just James Cameron pulled his alien sort of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. There's a horror story where a creature's trying to kill you. It's an unstoppable creature. Second one, I'll make it a real action adventure thing and all that. But this time, instead of making loads of them, he made the villain the hero because everyone liked Arnie. And then they didn't know what to do, so they kept trying to remake the first 2 films over and over and over, and killing the previous ones every time. Dark Fate was the closest they came, I thought, to a successful one afterwards. I liked a lot of the characters in it. I liked some of the twists on it. You know, her being a cybernetic sort of enhanced human this time instead of another Terminator combat. Arnie, I didn't mind so much if Arnie was just left there. His thing, he killed him, but his reality had just been destroyed anyway and gone on to be another reality, just completely changed. You can see something's left behind. Okay, I can kind of understand. It's not what I'd have done with it, but I didn't hate it for doing. That was more understandable than a lot of the other versions of Arnie in there. I like the action. I could have done without Linda Hamilton, I've got to be honest.
I completely agree. That it felt like she was shoehorned in. Didn't need her. And she did all the cheesy lines that Arnie did from the second one.
And she is one of the, you know, it's one of the big female action roles, full stop. That's fantastic.
Have any of you seen the new... Have any of you seen the new Halloween, where they've rebooted Halloween but made it a sequel to 1 and 2?
I've only seen it, so I know. Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Right. Dark Fate is very much a carbon copy when it comes to Sarah Connor's role. She plays the exact same role, and the idea of this movie is this is meant to be the 3rd movie in the timeline now. T3 is supposed to exist. Genesis and Salvation is supposed to be all ignored. It's supposed to go T1, T2, Dark Fate.
But even with this one. Even with this one, just not following any rules at all, why would the Rev 9 turn to Arnie and say, "You should be thanking me for this. We're of the same kind"? He would have no idea who he is. What the hell's going on?
Did anybody sit there watching Dark Fate and think to themselves, they have actually what they have done here is remake Terminator 3 and try to make it better?
I thought they remade Terminator 2. They just remade Terminator 2 shot by shot, basically.
No, I think it feels like Terminator 3. The way the bad guy and everything else. I think it's very much Terminator 3. The Rev 9, you got Arnie is there, and it's like a dual role with the female with the cybernetic enhancements and all that shit.
Terminatrix.
It does feel a bit like Terminator 3. And it's like they've said...
Terminator 3 is just a remake of Terminator 2. This is a remake of 2 and 3. So it's what they do with the Terminator movies. They keep trying to make the same movie with a twist.
Go on, Ant, what are you saying?
Salvation's the only one where they tried anything different. All the rest of the time, they've kept trying to make 2. 3 was a remake of 2.
Yeah.
Salvation was something new, but not particularly successfully done. Genesis was almost a remake of 2 and 3 again, and Dark Fate's another version of it, but it's probably my favourite version of it. The action was good, the acting was good for everybody. As I say, I could have done without Linda Hamilton in there, but she kind of didn't seem to want to be there half the time. But that kind of fit in with the character in many ways.
Yeah, Dark Fate isn't bad, but it's better than Genesis.
Yeah. A little bit of lesbian sort of feel I got from it. I was, hang on a minute, she was like all over.
If we were in a Castaway, you'd be pulling out from your specialist actor's bag.
Yeah. It was an interesting...
Garner Michaels and Sarah Connor.
Yeah. I was expecting Tommy Pistol in the background at any moment.
Well, he could have been one of the Terminators.
He could have, yeah. Yeah, he doesn't... the only weapon it's one you wouldn't want to shot with.
I didn't like the fact that they sort of... Sorry, I'm just adjusting my screen on here. I didn't like the fact that it was almost like they reshot it shot for shot. there was loads I didn't like. It was better than Genysis, which was a bad film. And I spent so many times going, what is happening? What is going on? Why have they done this? What's going on now? I did sit there thinking Mark must be having some sort of a heart attack at the dreadful time story.
I hated every aspect of it.
And Jay Courtney was terrible, but they did get some things right with Dark Fate. I completely agree with you, Mart, about Linda Hamilton. I was there thinking, she's going to be quite good, and she was not.
The one thing that does annoy me, right?
Fantastic to think of that, but no.
One thing that does annoy me, and I'm probably going to piss people off, I'm going to be slapped down for it. Just because you kill John Connor off doesn't automatically mean that women are therefore now going to be the saviours of the fucking planet. And that's not being sexist. It just felt like they've purposely changed it up to make the women the forefront of the movie. And it wasn't necessary. We have got strong women in strong casts, in strong roles. We've had Sigourney Weaver in the Alien films. We've had it before. And Linda Hamilton was always good at it. Yeah, Linda Hamilton and Sarah Connor was great in Terminator 2.
But then again, Terminator 3 with the Terminatrix and the growing boobs and stuff was something they had to pay for, I think, in some way. Maybe this was them just like going, okay, we owe you. Or we owe you. Every hero in this is a woman. The men are the evil bastards, or they've just been complete arseholes who just stayed there.
It's there's a lot to pick up with all of these films, really, isn't there?
I don't know. I think I hated Grace's character less than I hated Marcus in Salvation.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, I have to say, Marcus in Salvation.
They weren't bad. I enjoyed all the actors. I say even Linda Hamilton, who comes across as not wanting to be there, that works for the character in here. Have you seen her being interviewed for it? I swear to God, she didn't want to be there, full stop. But it worked for the character.
Well, the performances of Terminator Dark Fate resulted in a box office bomb, which has finally killed the franchise. I think we won't see any more, at least for some considerable time.
They said that after Salvation, they said after T3.
I've got to admit, I think Dark Fate, I don't think the bad box office was particularly down to the film itself. I think it was more down to people just being, the franchise should be dead. We're not going to bother watching this, full stop. Yeah. The film itself, I don't think is bad. I think it's very watchable. I think it's worthwhile. It's much like Solo. It surprised me when I actually came around to watching it on DVD later on.
I just think it's a shame that the Salvation storyline wasn't allowed to carry on, and we got Genysis and Dark Fate, because that is the one redeeming feature for Salvation, is that it was an attempt to we've done the Sarah Connor story and the John Connor story. Let's move it now to show what happens in the future when Skynet takes over and the war is actually going on. And it's a shame we didn't get that trilogy that was planned.
To have had more Kyle Reese, and especially Anton Yelchin, who was really good.
I liked him. I thought he was good. He was very believable. I like that. And
say what you want to about Salvation, whether you think it's boring or not. It did feel like a post-apocalyptic robots have taken over. It did feel like a sci-fi movie again, instead of a campy time travel slap on the back, one line of bollocks.
That's one of the things that I enjoyed about Dark Fate, though, as well. With the future stuff, I thought it actually felt like that bleak time travel sort of thing again. I like the Haley Cacao lookalike sort of doing all her bits out there. I thought, the future stuff there with all the Terminators attacking was really good. I enjoyed that a lot. And number one out of Umbrella Academy, appearing in it as one of the guys. But I can't remember the name of the actress playing Grace, but every time I was looking, I was thinking, Big Bang Theory? Hold on a minute, is that Haley?
Yeah, it wasn't Kaylee Cuoco, but yeah, I could see that, yeah. Right, what we need to do then, we need to grade this trilogy, and then we need to have an overall winner. So I think I'm going to go first, and I have got Ronan's as well, which was a bit surprising.
Mm.
So my grading for franchise part 2 is I'm going to go Dark Fate as the best of these 3. Then I'm going to go. Then I'm going to go Salvation because it helped me sleep. Salvation would be good to try and help me get to sleep when it's red hot like this. And then Genysis because it was an appalling mess. Didn't know what was going on. Crap film. Crap cast, crap actors, just awful.
For me, I'm putting Salvation first because it tried to do something. I wasn't so bored with it, but I do like long, drawn-out sci-fi stories as opposed to loads of action going on, and it did hold me a little bit better. And for the fact that it's top of the pile for me because it tried to do something different. Then Dark Fate. It wins out over Dark Fate because Dark Fate yet again made the mistake of repeating what's already gone before and going over the same old ground, and it's the same thing over again, and gave us nothing really new. It felt like a mix of T2 and T3 together, and it just didn't work for me. And I'm not even going to fucking mention the other polling piece of fucking shit. Doesn't exist. Wank.
So you've gone 4, 6, 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also I went first Salvation. Again, similar things. I did actually like the Marcus character, and I know that's probably controversial, but I thought it tried something. You could argue it didn't work. Maybe they needed different actors. I think the storyline worked though. Then Dark Fate. Again, lots of it wasn't necessary. The Linda Hamilton role wasn't needed. It couldn't stomach the Carl role. I thought that was the worst of the worst. And then coming in at last place, no surprise, Genysis. But again, like Martin said, there isn't one that is totally awful. But
there's no steaming toes in the bunch, really. You know, there's bad movies. That's great on the. You know, a 5 is probably the low score sort of thing. You know, they don't look. There's always something that makes them watchable.
I wouldn't go as high as a 5 for Genysis.
No, no.
I'd give it a 3 at best.
Genysis for me was Revenge of the Sith territory, I'm afraid. It was, yes, it was as bad as that. And was it as bad as Highlander the Quickening? No, but it was. It was.
Nothing is really.
Yeah. What's your ranking, Mart?
My ranking, quite easily, number 1. I like Dark Fate. I'm gonna, as I say, I think it could have done without Linda Hamilton. It could have done with a few other changes and things. I thought it was the best. Once you've had 1 and 2, which are the high ground, I thought this was the best of the sequels that they've tried to make since. The best of, as we've said, they tried to make the same sequel over and over and over and over. And this was probably the one that I enjoyed the most out of them all. I like Tim Miller as a director. From Deadpool, I think he's a great guy. I think he's got a good chance. It was much like Solo. It's come at a time when really you didn't want to watch the film, and then it'll get more of a life on streaming. And you'd say DVD and Blu-ray, but it won't. It'll be streaming because people won't spend out that much money to buy it. I bought it £7 because I wanted to watch it for this. And that was it. I hadn't got it on any streaming or anything like that. I watched it. But I'd say Dark Fate is my number 1. I'd say Salvation is my number 2, because, as we said, it tried to do something new. Now, was I enthralled by what it tried to do? No. But did it have some good performances that I really enjoyed? Yeah. And as I say, it tried to do something, and I appreciated that. If the films had come in the series of 1, 2, then Dark Fate, then Salvation, I'd have been quite happy, and then you could have spun off maybe then a couple of follow-ons, as Mark said, from Salvation, And if we hadn't had 3 and Genysis, I wouldn't mind one little bit. And Genysis is bottom of the bunch. And I find Genysis to be a fun turd. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's not good. But, you know, I ended up watching it a couple of times simply because you don't know what the hell you've watched. You think, what the hell? I'm sure they're breaking their own rules as they make them up, much like Looper. So, you know, they'll make up the rules, then they'll break them part of the way through, then they'll time travel a bit, and God knows what's
Ant's gone.
going on with it. But it's last place, but I didn't hate it.
Do you want to stop it now, Dave, and then start up again and see if Ant joins back up? Because it says 3 minutes at the minute.
Yeah, I'm going to say, just to finish, so you went 6-5-4, the same as me, Mart.
You cut it off back.
No, it's all right. You other two went 4-6-5, and just to make things interesting, Ronan went 5-6-4, which means that because of the way the ordering works, we have got it that we've got it 6-5-4 as the outcome for the second trilogy. So bonus coming up next. We're going to rank the lot. So it's basically one and then which one follows. Right.
We'll be back. Hopefully
I'll re-invite. So we have our rankings. So now we need to decide which is the best of the best and which is the worst of the worst. Oh, Anthony has props, does he?
No, that was my notes from earlier. So I think we're all decided that the first one's got to be the best. Terminator itself. Oh, I see Martin's got props.
He'll be back. Yeah, I think I love Terminator 2, but I understand it is a mess. And actually, Dark Fate, if they'd have just shown the first few minutes of Dark Fate at the end of Terminator 2, I'd have loved that. You know, just when you think he's got away with it, to have blown John's brains out would have been great. I might edit it together, where just as you see Arnie's hand come down, and you go, yeah, brilliant, they've defeated Skynet. I'm going to put the bit of Dark Fate on where a new Arnie comes up and blows his brains out. Yeah, that'd be a great ending for me. Cameron should have done that.
That pissed so many people off, that did.
Oh, yeah, completely.
Give me your clothes, your boots, and your mask.
Yeah, I completely. I get it. It was a stupid thing to do, to jettison all the hard work that was done. Anyway, yeah, are we all in agreement? Terminator, the first one, rules a roost.
Yeah, for me it does. I don't think it was smart because when we did the thing before, he put T2 first.
Yeah, I had T2 first, but I'm okay to concede. You know,
T1's just the it's the classic. It's the horror element. It's the thing that started everything, and it's what they went away from and lost and became weak the further they went from it. And yeah, okay, 2, you throw in the action and everything, and for a lot of people, it's going to be their favourite.
Yep.
It really will. You know, if you just want the action and stuff like that, you can see it. It'll be a lot of people's favourite. But for us and our tastes, Terminator, for me, it's the number one.
It's very reminiscent of the way Alien is. As you've got older and you watch it back, you realise how fucking good it is. Yeah,
I'm completely with you there. That's why Alien for me beats Alien. If I'd have been here the week you did that, I would have been arguing on the side.
And it just goes to show when you
the one, if there's any redeeming factor in Genysis, was that harking back and that entering the same shop and
no, it fucking wasn't the redeeming feature of Genysis. That was the reason why that Genysis needs to be fucking the Genysis into the fucking sky and fucking nuked.
I think they were going to take you back to a time that you enjoyed. Does that make sense? So
I wish I could go back to a point where I'd never seen Genysis. That's how bad it was.
Mark has got a time machine, but it doesn't have any. But there's no rules involved, so it could take you anywhere.
No, Monty's got to get his time machine sorted sometime, because we all know he's the bass player and the lead singer at the Motors. Just somehow he travels back in time, learns to play the bass and learns to sing, and he becomes the lead singer of the Motors. Just find the goddamn video. Oh. I know that he's a time traveler. It just hasn't happened yet. He looks younger than the guy.
Right. So
I'm
my
going to
order.
really upset the fucking apple cart with my order. So
Well, I'm going to go first. My order goes 1, 2, 6, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 6, 3, 4, 5. That's my order.
You may need to write these down as you go.
I'm going to. 1, 2, 6, 3, 4, 5.
I can understand why you say 1, 2, 6 because you are you are as shown an example of no offense, but that was the way they wanted people to start looking at this. It's now 1, 2, 6.
Necessarily a bad thing. That means they were successful in that way because I'm pretty much similar, especially on my first group.
Yeah.
Okay. Ant.
I'd also go 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5.
3.
Which sounds like the pin on my bank.
I was going to say, at least someone write these down and try them as pin numbers.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Rolling through that, the nostalgia element is perhaps my reasoning on that. I think they've got weaker as they've gone through, and then Genysis has really dropped the ball, and then hence it slipped to the back of the queue. But that's where I am.
Go on then, Mart.
Me? Sorry, I'm
Yes.
Mark.
No, Martin. Go for it, mate.
Okay. It's all right. Yes was yeah, mine 1, 2, 6, Salvation, 3, then Genysis.
1, 2, 6, 4, 3, 5. Yeah. I think we have a top 2. I think there's a general consensus of the top 2. There's a bit of movement in the middle, and we all hate Genysis. And now let's follow what we can call the deliberate troublemaker in Munt. Come on, then, give us your order.
This is purely based on story element and the feel of the
Salvation number 1.
No, right. For me, Terminator is a dark, brooding, classic sci-fi.
Yeah. Come on, just give us your order.
So for me, T1 is first.
Yeah.
Then.
What are you going to do?
Salvation is next.
I'm not doing these anymore, bye.
I think where you're going, because that's a bit broody and dark as well.
Salvation is next, right? I'm basing this on the franchise, not. This is based on the franchise, right? I am doing it based on the franchise and the qualities of the franchise, not on whether it's a fucking action movie with big explosions and everything else, right? Because Salvation story is great. You think
fuck off. Salvation?
No,
you think Salvation is better than Terminator 2? Mark?
Absolutely.
What's wrong with you?
No, because Salvation does nothing. Salvation does nothing to harm Terminator 1, right? Therefore, it goes in as the second one. It does fuck all to destroy the franchise. It keeps the story going and moves
2 doesn't
forward.
do it to destroy the franchise. Look at the figures.
Next, Terminator 3.
Oh,
right?
Good God.
The reason why...
That doesn't make any sense.
The reason why I prefer Terminator 3 to Terminator 2 is because Terminator 2 pisses me off so much because it is so much of a fucking tangent to what the fucking first Terminator film is. It pisses me off.
Have you watched the same film?
Yes,
Did you see John Connor in... Oh.
Right.
Hold
the
on,
worst thing...
Dave,
No,
Dave,
hang on.
Dave, we should be good with people with mental problems.
I haven't got mental
You've got to look
problems.
after. You've got to be good. You've got to take your time.
I'm sorry, I have not got mental problems. Right, with Terminator 2, they
to listen to it.
the hardest, darkest, meanest, killing, time traveling machine fucking robot there is, and they fucking neutered him, and it fucking destroyed the actual.
But is the same in Terminator 3?
No, it's not. Terminator 2. Yeah, no. I know, but Terminator 3's got a better story than Terminator 2.
It hasn't got a story. It doesn't make any sense. It just finishes with them going, slam, done, or what happens next? Roll credits.
Terminator 2 is just fucking bombs and explosions, and it's a fucking action movie made for fucking 13-year-old lads. It fucking destroyed this franchise, and if it wasn't for Terminator 2, we wouldn't have had fucking all the other shit that follows, which can't keep to the fucking feel and thoughts and the whole ethos of the first Terminator movie. The only one that does that out of all the 6 movies is Salvation, and that is the fucking truth. And you can't fucking accept the truth because you got fucking roasting.
You can't handle the truth.
When you were fucking 12 years old, watching Terminator 2,
Just get on with it, right? So inexplicably, 143, then 6.
Ahead of Terminator 2.
Something
is very, very wrong with you.
6.
You put 2 then.
So it's 1, 4, 3, 2, then Dark Fate, and then Genysis, because it's fucking abysmal. And the reason we get fucking films like Genysis is because T2 was fucking made, and T3 is no better than T3. I've just put T3 above T2 to piss everybody off, like I'm pissed off at the old fucking thing. Honestly, it just pissed me off, right? T2, don't get me wrong, right? Terminator 2 is not a bad movie, but what Terminator 2 did was fucking destroy the Terminator franchise and put them in the situation they can't fucking make fucking 4 attempts and they can't fucking get right after. Bunch of fucking all the fucking money that they have got in the fucking world. Here's the money. Make a fucking good film. They fucking sat in the fucking waste of the fucking time every time. Load of fucking
Terminator 2, your main problem with it, Terminator 2 was too successful, so they tried to copy it every time. If Terminator 2 had just been successful and then they did something like Salvation afterwards, you'd have still admired Terminator 2 because it was another twist on the original that actually made more money and was really widely well respected all over the world.
What they should have done, right, is like with the money they got for Terminator 2, he's gone to James Cameron and say, hey, think you can make something else good and dark and original? And look at what we could have got.
Titanic.
You've got 5 films of shit. It really is. It's fucking disgusting. You fucking. It really, looking at it, right? It's just as destructive, load of path and bollocks as the Highlander franchise. Because we got a mess.
No, no.
Yeah, but Mark, this is coming from you. This is coming from you that rates the Transformer films.
Very much watch these films. Jesus, no.
You rate the Transformer films?
Look, I'm looking at this as a franchise, right? And they do not follow the tone and the darkness and the feel of the first one. They turn it into a fucking mess.
Yeah, no, but they did a twist on it for the second one. If they changed it again for the third and gone back to the darker stuff, I think you can have periods of light as long as you return to what you actually meant to be. The fact that they chose the wrong path after 2, it doesn't make 2 a bad movie. It makes 3 a bad movie. It makes 4 a bad movie. You know, it makes the continuation.
The thing is, right, I am not saying
you might hit another strain of like
Terminator 2 isn't a bad movie. It's a fucking bad sequel to the original Terminator because of
I don't think it is. I think that the executives as executives do, took the wrong message from its success. It's like, oh, we've got to do more of this all the time. Now, if they headed back and changed it again, gone darker afterwards, and kept shades of both, they could have done great. But they kept down the fun route and then the strange twisted time travel.
They didn't know what the franchise did. They kept jumping around and making the ultimate killing machine a lovely cuddly teddy bear, and then in the next 10 minutes there was a glitch in his program that meant that he was going to kill John Connor, and then there was
I have been hacked.
In all seriousness, that is why I rate Salvation so high, because they do attempt to keep it tonally the same as the first one, and do something different.
Wouldn't you have just picked the best sniper rifle on the shelf, and taken him out from distance with your super robotic eyes?
Yeah.
Why would you go through all of this?
And that's what annoyed me with Dark Fate.
Because it was so good on film.
Like the Rev 9, the Rev 9 was the ultimate killing machine. God, he was polite, wasn't he? Oh, sorry about your shed. It didn't make any sense. It was ridiculous. James Cameron again. Oh, we don't want it too dark. Let's lighten it up a bit. Let's make it a bit of a joke. Why did they do that? He was perfect. They didn't need him to do little quips. Anyway,
I do actually. He was really good though. As the actor himself, I did like him in the part. I like the guy.
I think what we have to do is have an agreed consensus that if you want to watch a film, if you want to watch a series of films that are true to themselves, that keep the standard up and keep to their rules, watch Back to the Future.
Yeah.
And avoid these if you don't want to go around the bend.
Couple of films here, full stop.
Now,
as a series,
we do have a consensus. I've gone through the scoring, and
time travel is very problematic, isn't it?
And we actually have Body Bag Ant, who's come out with the correct sequence and the most universally accepted sequence. So we have number one.
He put 3 as 3.
Yeah, I know, but so did Munt, and so did Ronan. So we've got one. The order is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5. That's the order that comes out.
Nearly in release order.
1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5. It starts
with
great.
Martin, film there that you didn't regret watching, except maybe Genysis, but you had to watch Genysis for the.
You've got to watch Genysis. Genysis deserves a Ronan sort of bad movie review. It deserves Ronan the Accused. It stands accused of being how many poos.
So the problem I've got with this franchise and the making of a good franchise is being able to put the first movie in and happily watch the following movies and have a good go through all of them. There's not many franchises you can do with this. For me now, for the rest of my life, I will only ever watch the first Terminator movie. I won't watch the sequels because I don't want to watch what happens again ever again, because it's a mess.
Well, the only
with Highlander. I can't watch Highlander.
Highlander, there is only one.
Yeah, there should only be one. Yeah.
There isn't many movies where you can turn and say, right, I'm going to sit and watch all these movies because they're so fucking good and it's a great, complete story. There isn't many out there. There's the Star Wars franchise, which I know some people are that grains with. The Lord of the Rings I can do it with. Back to the Future I can do it with. Terminator I can't. Highlander I can't.
I mean, it kind of comes down to the only franchises that work, I don't know if you sort of kind of agree or disagree with this, is something that's already written. You have a complete story that makes sense. Everyone knows the direction it's going in. Everyone knows the end point, and we all know the start point. And they make a series of films within that structure. They're the only ones that appear to work.
Oh, yeah.
Say that, but have you seen the Smokey and the Bandit movies?
I don't necessarily have to have a predetermined story and base it on source material. Yeah. As long as they set up the rules in the first movie and keep it tonally the same throughout, and the characters the same going through the trilogy or whatever films, great. I mean, as much as people...
Same director would always be a good one.
You're saying the same, the character's got to grow.
They can grow, but tonally, you don't fucking mess.
Yeah, but the grow within that structure that's already pre.
I mean, I'm not keen on Rocky 3. I'm not keen on Rocky 4. I'm not keen on Rocky 5. But tonally, they're still the same. It's still the same thing going on. It's still the same theme. We don't suddenly.
It's still the same street thug who used to like shake people down for cash and whatever.
Rocky Rocky is
fucking
brain dead
people
sports
talking.
movie, isn't it? Rocky is, not
Yeah.
a lot of thinking involved. But, the target audience is.
Whoa.
The target audience is basically white racists. That's what it's about.
Hold
So
on. I like
stick it
this
in,
movie.
and there we go. It's yeah.
I mean,
But
look
again-
at the diehards. When we did the diehards,
Oh.
what went wrong with the diehards is
They made a third one,
fucking-
and a
that-
fourth,
that-
and a fifth.
No, third one's one of the
Third
really
one's
good
great.
ones.
But they
One man very
they-
lucky there.
they didn't keep the tone and the theme of the original movie and keep it that way. They had to do a little bit more, throw the jokes and everything else, and they just fucking it's just a fucking mess.
Suddenly you've got a Juggernaut versus an F-15 on a motorway bridge. What the hell?
And forgetting that he's
And
actually
then
just
fire.
he's a New York cop, that, and that's probably my the thing that killed Terminator for me. And I said it earlier on with this is as much as I really enjoyed the second one, the glaringly big mistake he made, and Cameron did it in Dark Fate, and it's a continuing theme is, let's make the T-800 the nice good guy because we like him.
Dead right.
And
that
it
is
killed
why I
it.
have an issue with Terminator 2.
And it killed it.
And that's what I was
Well,
saying.
if they twisted it and brought him back as evil again, that would have been really nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
And
would
they
have
saw,
thrown it in.
and you know what?
You could have kept two, and two would have been the fun anomaly. Then it goes dark again.
But yeah,
You don't know. Maybe further on down the line, they can make him like nice again, but not to make it a regular thing.
They
If they'd
sort
actually
of-
have all the guts to do something like that.
in Dark Fate, I thought a new Terminator come back, T-800 come back, kill John, brilliant. And then it was like, his program was done. He got no mission left, no Skynet, so he hung around aimlessly. Did he say 4 months after 4 months after I killed John, I found this woman who was being beaten up by her husband. 4 months for an unstoppable killing machine. 16 weeks. What was he in lockdown with COVID? I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Kill other people. He'd gone back to kill one man, and once that one man was removed, and then it turned out that he needn't have killed him at all, that his killing him made no difference whatsoever to the timeline.
Oh, so 16 weeks, he
Just
managed to reprogram himself.
It's a computer. It's a computer on standby. But they say earlier on, so the CPU's a learning computer. So I can kind of understand it. It's not my favourite thing ever, but I can at least understand it.
But it's learning new skills to be able to be a better killing machine, not learning new skills.
It's
So we can-
infiltration unit. It's learning to be more human, as he explains in two.
You
Yeah.
can give him the fucking film far more fucking credit than
That's why they make it look human.
Oh, and that's what. Oh, I could go on. We've done it. Jai Courtney's Kyle Reese. I mean, my goodness me, what happened there?
Yeah.
You know what? Do you know what Genysis was like? It was a bit like what Michael Bay did with Transformers. Somebody said, "There's some characters here, and there's something called Skynet." I can make a film about that. Have you seen the previous ones? Nah, it doesn't matter. I've got an idea. And wrote a story out on the back of a fag packet and filmed it.
Yeah.
Has Michael Bean got any kids or anything? Couldn't they have just if he'd got a son, just bring it in and actually use that instead?
So
Well, the whole it made a mockery of the whole thing when it's going to happen anyway, regardless of the characters involved, and then you suddenly start realizing that have I wasted my time in even getting involved in the story?
but actually,
Were you having one of those dark nights again then, and were you pulling out the body bag, Christ, is it worth carrying on all of the dark time?
But actually, if you think about it, so Terminator 1, Skynet goes, we got to send somebody back to kill John Connor because he's going to be the leader of the resistance. It doesn't say that he ultimately destroys Skynet. In the second one, we've got to send the T-1000 back to kill John Connor because he's the leader of the resistance. Why don't they just leave him? They're far better off leaving him to grow up to be a crap leader of the resistance. It's the same with Legion and Genysis. Just let it happen. Send nobody back.
If they really wanted to get rid of it, all they need to do is send back a biological weapon, send back fucking cholera again. Just send back some.
It irritates me more and more. Oh, we've got to send that back to get rid of the leader. Why? He hasn't destroyed you yet, so what's the point?
So the art of making a franchise movie is leaving you wanting more. I didn't want more, and I don't want more, and I don't care.
That's why Dark Fate failed, because there wasn't the appetite there for it. People didn't want more of it. We've had movie after movie of so sequels. The appetite isn't there for another one. You can turn out a good movie, and the appetite's not really there for it at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I think there'll always be an appetite for a movie that's got a good story, and it's taking you somewhere, takes you on a journey.
But why won't they make one then that makes sense?
Forrest Gump. You can watch that movie 50 times and get something different from it every time, and that's the sort of movie that I think we all hanker after, that you rarely get. It's an
inside man's mind.
And that's why Robert Zemeckis doesn't make sequels, apart from Back to the Future.
Yeah.
But you know what? Life really is like a box of chocolates.
You never know what you're going to get with the Terminator franchise, that's for sure.
Right, we have our ranking. Thank you to Munt. Thank you to Woody in the studio. Thank you to Ant. Thank you to Ronan for sending his rankings in via text. And unlike Arnie, I really hope in terms of Terminators, we won't be back. Thank you, gentlemen. See you later.